The goal of life is to attain the Supreme Lord. This can only happen when our mind attains complete and absolute absorption in the Divine. And that can be done by developing the ability for concentration. Razor-sharp focus is one of the most powerful mental faculties that you can possess. Take a look at the power of laser beams. They are energized by a few watts of energy and they contain just light rays. But because of the intensity of the focus, they are used for drilling holes in diamonds that are amongst the hardest things on this planet. In contrast is the sun. It emits billions of kilowatts of light energy to the earth every minute. And yet, you can conveniently walk under the sunlight with a light umbrella on your head without getting burned. So what is the difference between ordinary sunlight and laser beams? It lies in the intensity of the focus. Likewise is the focus in steam engines. Now, water vapor evaporates in hundreds of tons from lakes, streams, seas, and oceans. It does not burn anyone. But the water vapor, when it is focused in the piston of the steam engine and brought to bear with intensity in that railway engine, it empowers it to pull thousands of tons of steel and iron at hurtling speeds on those railway tracks. That is the power of focus. Similarly, if we can develop mental focus, we can bring intensity to any physical or intellectual work that we perform. Focus declutters our mind. If you have had the experience of driving a car in a rainstorm, you will be aware how it blurs up vision. That is why cars come with the feature of wipers for retaining clarity. Likewise, to make good decisions in life, we need to declutter our mind from the distractions all around us. And that can be done by developing the ability for concentration. Just as an artist did in the time of Ramakrishna Paramahans. This great sage went from Dakshineshwar to Kolkata to participate in the Rath Yatra of Lord Jagannath. He reached late and the chariot had passed by. He asked a shopkeeper, "Has the Rath of Lord Jagannath gone by from here?" The shopkeeper was a painter. He said, "No, not yet." The neighboring shopkeeper corrected him, "Why are you telling lies to such a big Mahatma? It went by a couple of hours ago." The painter said, "I never saw it." His neighbor said, "Never mind, you must have heard the jhanj, the manjira, the mridangas, the drums." The painter said, "I never heard anything." Ramakrishna Paramahans was astonished. He sat there in meditation and realized this painter is telling the truth. He came out of his meditation and touched his feet and said, "The world calls me a Mahatma, but your mind is so incredibly focused You were so absorbed in your painting that the whole procession went by with hundreds of people and you did not come to know. That is how focus declutters our mind, and it enhances our ability to understand. So, for example, when you sit in a class listening to a talk or a lecture, the more you focus, the better is your comprehension. And if the focus is diffused, the mind wanders away. Your ability to understand also gets affected. Try this experiment. Early in the morning when you wake up, use that first 1 hour to learn some new subject. You will discover your brain is working like sponge, and it has 400% efficiency compared to doing the same activity in the evening when the mind is cluttered by the daily exposure. So that is how focus enhances our ability to understand. Focus is also necessary for learning new skills. These require bringing our mental and intellectual abilities to bear upon mastering an art. Sunil Gavaskar, one of the greatest batsmen in the world ever, the one who broke Donald Bradman's record for the maximum number of test centuries, which stood at 29. Sunil Gavaskar scored 34 test centuries, and his record was subsequently broken again. But he was asked, "What is the secret of your virtuoso batting?" He said, "My ability to focus. I keep my eyes on the ball." Focus also helps us enhance our mental state. Usually, we let thoughts happen to us as reactions to events in the environment. But when we have focus, we can then choose the feelings that we wish to harbor. And this frees us from the clutches of the mind. We feel better about ourselves and can take charge of our life. And finally, focus can help us attain God. Let's read about it from my latest book, The Power of Thoughts. The goal of life is to attain the Supreme Lord. This can only happen when our mind attains complete and absolute absorption in the divine. The Bhagavad Gita states, "Just as a lamp in a windless place does not flicker, so the disciplined mind of a yogi remains steady in meditation on the Supreme." When the mind, restrained from material activities, becomes still in the practice of yoga, then the yogi is able to behold the soul through the purified mind, and he rejoices in inner joy. In that joyous state of yoga called samadhi, one experiences supreme, boundless, divine bliss. And thus situated, one never deviates from the eternal truth. Bhagavad Gita 6.19 to 6.21. Despite the benefits of focus, we find that we are besieged by absent-mindedness. We suffer from the shattered focus syndrome. Our mind has this propensity, this novelty bias, and therefore we'll have to work hard to enhance our concentration. We learn how to do that in the next episode of this 21-day series, The Power of Thoughts.